Hello, hello, and we are live. We're checking with everyone that we are live. Are we? Yes, we are live. Hi, everyone. And today we're going to go directly to the point because I was 7 minutes late. But life happened when you're too busy making plans. And today we're going to talk about Karen. And I do know that we have long people waiting for the Karens. I'm going to be taking messages on the corner. My team is going to be all the time with me. Now, I'm going to ask you from the things that you see on the screen. Let's see how biased you are and how biased work. If you need to choose each of the pianos or all the pianos or one of the pianos, which one you would say is the perfect piano for you, is the most expensive piano, and what is the majority of the people choose as a piano when they need to choose one? Anybody want to tell me? Again, to show you how bias work, we're going to make it simple. I want to know from all these two pianos, which one people usually pick, which is the most expensive, and why you will choose that piano. Ideas? And I'm going to introduce myself lately, but I just want to put it on the beginning so I give you time to process. Guess what? The majority of the people choose the crystal piano. The majority of the people go with the piano that is nice. Guess what? That piano in $3.22 million is the same price and have the same content and is the same piano like a $5,000 piano. Because it look nicer, is because it look more expensive. People would think that is the piano to regular people with a pickup. Now, let me tell you something. You want to know why the other piano is $3.4 million? It's because that piano was played in Casablanca. It still can be played, but people cannot play it because it's in a museum. That is how biased, how the Karen effect act. We are deceived. We are manipulated. Our senses betrayed us. So today we're going to talk about the Karen effect. How biased are you? Oh, believe me, you are. Hi, everyone. My name is Susana Ivitz. I'm a behavioral neuroscience strategist. What I do is I take a die of horses and make it win the derby. It looked like, yeah, I'm centered on that thing. So what we're going to talk about today is bias. Then when people think about biases, no, I'm not biased. I like people no matter the color, the gender. There's so many studies. One of the problems today with the team when we're talking with Elva is from all the studies that we have from the class, which one we're going to give. So we have one in luxury. We have one on the appearance deceiving, like that. And we have one for sales and dating. And I'm going to show you, ladies, how sometimes what you see is not what you get. And maybe that's the reason you're choosing the wrong partner. So if you have questions, you have ideas, and oh my God, the shows next week are Bully on Monday, how to deal with your family. And we're going to talk about body language and how mugglers decide how to attack you for how your body language is. And we're going to talk about signals and dating because it's the season hunting. And after Thanksgiving, everybody give you a hard time that you're still single. Well, we're going to give you tools to how to use body language for dating. So let's go to the presentation today. We talk about the Karen's bias. How biased are you? How biased are you? Bias is not a personality trait, okay? So it cannot be evaluated, it cannot be determined by any personality assessment. And actually, there have been tried in labs about assessment and conscience bias. There was a study done about people of color that it was kind of undefined and unconscious bias, but we realized that it's too nerdy to go on the show, not because you're not nerdy enough, it's because it's going to take us 20 minutes to go through this, and you only have 30 minutes to have lunch together. So we're going to make it to the simple one. Bias is a brain shortcut, and your brain take them all the time. Why? Because it's easy to take a shortcut. We're going to talk about system 1 and system 2. Kahneman in 2002 win a Nobel Prize for behavioral economics. The funny part, he was a psychologist. It was the first time a psychologist win a Nobel Prize. He worked with an economist and he was a psychologist. What happened there? What happened is that he realized that we have two systems on the brain. System one, that is Homer Simpson taking 95% of the decisions, and system two is Albert Einstein. Now, my point is, Albert Einstein made the decisions that are more complex. You have a pain, you freaked out, you go to the doctor. Now, when the doctor gives you the diagnostic is when Albert Einstein should be getting there. My problem on the personal is when I was fostering cats, Homer Simpson came with me. Einstein was on vacation because he ended up with 6 cats. Every time that I want to buy a pair of shoes, Homer Simpson decided to come shopping with me. Albert Einstein doesn't fight with us anymore. That's how I ended up with all the shoes and clothing that I have. So if you think that because I do what I do, I'm not 95% irrational, you're wrong. The good news is you are too. The bad news, you are too. So what do you think bias is? It's racist, it's sexist, ignorant people, and caring. And because the brain take a shortcut when we talk about ignorant people is because you have all the tools to determine. We think bias live in them, not in ourselves. And the bad news is bias live in all of us. So if you think that you're not biased, the bad news is you are being misinformed because you're biased. And today we're gonna have a couple of aha moments when you're gonna find out that you are as biased as the next person sitting next to you. What bias really is fast judgment, automatic meaning, and stories before evidence. Now, with this says, let's go to the what before. What we think bias is. Racist, sexism, ignorance, people, or caring. And you says, well, Susan, the other slide says that we are not. And again, when we talk about ignorance is having all the information in front of you and not utilize it for the meaning that you need to utilize it. That is a stop. And we're going to talk at the end how to minimize your bias. But bias is the fast judgment. Fast things slice. Actually, if you check in my library, at some point I have that book, I forgot, Daniel Pink. And Daniel Pink is thin slice. I don't know. Please correct me if I'm wrong on there. But we do fast judgment. We see somebody walking and based in our dictionary. And based in our dictionary, and when I talk about dictionary, it has nothing to do with the language you speak or if English is your first language or no. There is a misconception. When I talk about dictionary is, okay, my background is in political influence consultant. I work a lot with hostage negotiators and police and interrogators. I work with lawyers. I work with certain professionals when I use certain language. So when I do live like this, then I don't know who is going to be my audience. I need to niche down the dictionary I use. And Elva and I, we have the same problem all the freaking time, is to niche dumb down the language we use, because we both in the uni, we both have degree, we both talk with people that have PhD all the time, and we all the time trying to speed our dictionary to talk to them. But not everybody use the same language. It's nothing wrong with your dictionary, but you need to be aware of your own and the dictionary that people have that you speak with. Automatic meaning. If it's cold, I'm gonna mean that I'm gonna be frozen. Or look like can be cold because it's the sun is not out there, so I assume it's going to be cold. Guess what? You have cloudy days in the middle of July, and that is the middle of the summer here in the United States. So don't use the automatic meaning. Story before evidence. So a lot of things, and one of the things that happen with conspiracy theory is that we buy the story before we get the evidence. One of the conspiracy theories that the evidence and almost buy it. I love Animal Kingdom. I want to put my camera so you can see my face talking to you. They complained that I didn't show my face yesterday. And the camera, it's here we go. That's the reason. that. Now the camera, it's centered, and I'm centered on the screen. So one of the things is, because I live on the forest, so I hear the theory that every time a coyote, whatever you want to mean it, the kind of wolf or dog, every time the one die, the female automatically go to hit to reproduce again. It was really difficult to find studies to say no and studies to say yes. Guess what? The meat has become so strong that you're going to believe whatever bias you have with you. In my case, every time that I see an animal dead on the road, it broke my heart. I have a speed dial for the animal welfare. They already know me. I have cut the highway to save a raccoon. So my bias is then I put animals first. My bias is then I want the coyotes to be having the hit every time they need to reproduce because one die. Guess what? The evidence shows that is not true. So when you have a bias, go to the evidence. Don't buy the story, because that's the way we ended up in certain situations today, because evidence is not checked. Luxury experiment. And we were testing this morning with the team about video and audio. So let's make sure that this happened. Do you really think that a product, I'm going to put this cell phone. This is not an iPhone. It's a Google phone. I think it's an Android. Let's put it an Android. Do you think that the Apple phone is more expensive? If I have the same phone and I put a different cover looking like a more luxury cell phone, do you think you're going to like it more? Will you be willing to pay more? You do need to pay $250,000 for a handbag. And don't get me wrong, I used to work on the industry, so I have some of those. Do you need to pay $25,000 for a handbag? No. Sometimes the fake ones now are as good or better than the good ones. But let me tell you, we all fell from this. This is called the luxury experiment, how a brand, Payless, tricked people to think that what they buying is extremely luxury. The funny part is at the end, when people find out they were tricked, the face they put. Let's go to the video and tell me, what do you think with this? And okay, I need to stop sharing this. Add to the speech.
Wondered how much people would pay for our shoes if they didn't know they were our shoes. So we rebranded for a weekend.
Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy ACL Official back with another video. Now before I go ahead and play the rest of that video clip, let me give you a bit of context into what's going on. So obviously everyone knows luxury brands have very high prices. For example, you've got brands like Christian Louboutin selling trainers for £2,000. You've got Balenciaga selling the triple S's for around 700. And over time it's pretty much become the norm to equate high prices with luxury products. Now 3 months ago, Payless, which is a low-cost footwear retailer over in the US, they went ahead and tested this theory. What they did was rebrand their entire store and the name, and they also increased their prices a lot, and the results are quite interesting. So what I'm going to do now is play you the rest of the clip, and I'll be back in a minute.
We at Payless wondered how much people would pay for our shoes if they didn't know they were our shoes. So we rebranded for a weekend. We built a fake luxury store, filled it with avant-garde sculptures and displays. We even hired a full team of sales associates. Then we filled all the shelves with Payless shoes and jacked up our prices as much as 1,800%. And finally, we gave it what you might call a fancier name. Welcome to Palessi.
Palessi is just such high quality, high fashion. It's taking your shoe game up to the next level.
It's very, European, very, upscale.
The guests at the Palessi grand opening party had no idea any of these shoes were from Payless.
It looks really well made. I love a heel that's kind of chunky because it means you can jump up and down, do some backflips maybe.
It's a stunner. It's one of those shoes that you're just going to get compliments on over and over again.
Elegant, sophisticated, and versatile.
For me to experience this as an Italian designer is amazing.
I could definitely wear this to a Met Gala dinner.
Just think it's so unique.
I would definitely spend $295 on a pump like this.
I would pay $300-400 for these shoes for sure. I'd probably spend about $500 on this.
Compliments are great and all, but would these fashionista influencer types open up their wallets for our shoes? We watched from a room backstage as our first customer approached the register. We all celebrated the first sale, But then we witnessed more and more shoes selling. Shoes sold for $250, $400, and even $600. But before any of them left, we let them know the shoes were actually from Payless.
What? No way.
You've got to be kidding me. Shut up. Are you serious? No. Did I just pay too much? I love Christian Siriano. Oh, I would support this.
Anyone who bought the shoes got them from us as a free gift, but we proved that they could sell for over 10 times the normal Payless price. Now anyone can come into Payless and get these same exact shoes for as low as $19.99.
I am very, very happy with this purchase, and I will be going to Payless.
We at Payless.
So with this says, how you felt when you need, and my cats are playing, how you feel when you are paying so much per pair of shoes? Guilty. I'm saying that's the reason I take complete responsibility for this. I'm the most biased and the most illogical and the most Homer Simpson you're gonna find out there. But now you know why. It's the perception. So when you have the perception, when you feel that, Elba, you need to take down the comment that you got. That is the live stream. Okay, we need to take that down. So the point with this is we are easily influenced by what we see. So every time that you're going to need to buy something, pay attention, because the luxury experiment is true. And we are victim of that. Okay, let's go back. We need to remove these. Remove, go back. Oh, I found out how it works. Finally. So bias and Karen, the Karen bias. That's what we're talking today. That's how you can be influenced. That's how you are manipulated. But guess what? By your own brain. Now, the bias science, halo effect of the Karen bias. Military evaluation overrated soldiers globally. Rating of unreal traits correlated. One global impression shaped everything. Basically, the first impression that we do have about someone, the first impression that we do have about the person that we saw is the perception that we're going to have about that person. Now, remember that we talk about dictionary. Dictionary has a lot to do with this, because when you don't like someone, when you go to the first impression about someone, has absolutely nothing to do with that person. So if somebody doesn't like you, actually has nothing to do with you. You know what it has to do? With the dictionary of the person that is judging you. They cannot like your accent. They cannot like your hair. They cannot like your clothing. They cannot like many, many things. But at the end of the day, has nothing to do with you. So you need to understand that you are unconsciously as a person judging the other, and you need to be conscious that the other person not always is judging you about you. And we're going to talk about other effects and things that can happen based on the halo effect. So the Karen bias and the negative halo. Complaints, she's a Karen. As soon as somebody says or label you, so the halo, the Karen bias, the labeling, and the horn effect are things that happen in everyday life. Like it or not, you're a victim, and like it or not, you're part of the problem. If I says, oh, that is a Karen, guess what? Everyone is gonna remember you as a Karen. Let me tell you this, and do this example. You are gonna introducing someone to somebody else, and let me tell you how important is the introduction on the labeling. You says, hey, I'm gonna bring a friend to the party. Tell me something about her. Oh, she's kind of a Karen. I don't know the name. I don't know what she does. I don't know if she's a good or bad person. I already know she's a Karen. Guess what? As soon as I met that person, the only feeling I'm gonna have is like, ooh, you're the Karen, and you're done. And sometimes you think it's funny to label people, and it's not. I'm crazy. Yes, I make fun of that. I'm weird. Yes, I make fun of that. I'm different. Yes, and I make fun of that. I make a brand of that. But the kind of work that I do actually is a plus to be that way. But people who's going to go for a job on a dating, or you're going to go on a blind date and you says, hey, you're going to make me a blind date. How is she? Oh, she's super intelligent. Do you know the first thing you know? She's not attractive. Oh, they're going to introduce a guy and says, oh, he's really good. He's really good with his mom. Is not what I ask you. Is dateable or not dateable? So that's where you need to be careful. That is the Karen effect. That is a bias. That's a halo. Now, one moment define the whole person. Sometimes with one label you give them because that is the base. Now, the horn effect replaces any objectivity. What I mean with the horn effect. The horn effect is when you have done all your homework, you have done an amazing job. I'm doing this presentation and Monday I mess it up. Now I see something on the chat that shouldn't be and I got extremely distracted. I should be more professional, not get pissed off. That would happen is if you saw my live on Monday that I was in a lot of pain and I didn't like and I'm going to repeat it, you think, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's bubbling. She's not a good coach. She doesn't have the things together. The truth to be told, I was in a lot of pain. I told you, I tore my meniscus in my right knee. I need to have a surgery. I was in a lot of pain and I took the meds an hour before. I shouldn't because my brain don't work. So no matter how good is my job and how much you have seen me, if I mess it up really big or not that big in one situation, guess what? People is going to assign me that thing. It's called the pitfall effect. And we're going to talk about the pitfall effect because it's that you need to be perfect, but not that perfect. And it's the pitfall effect. You see? My speech impediment. People think that I don't know what I'm talking about and I cannot be a linguistic because I have a speech impediment. That's how much people label you. Makes sense? Guys, if you have any questions about what is the difference between the halo effect, labeling, and the horn effect and the Karen effect, you can make questions later. You can write to us on consulting@susaniwitz.com. And if you think that in your company, this is happening, give us a call. Let us know because we help a lot of people and a lot of companies to try to avoid the bias, helping them to understand as soon as you understand that happened to you, it's like in any treatment. You go to a therapist and you ask the therapist, what is the problem? And they tell you, and the first thing instead to blame it in somebody else is what is wrong with me that I'm doing that. 50% of any therapy is going to be working better. Why? Because you need to own your own shit. So, halo effect in courts. And this is something that I used to be a behavioral consulting for court and for lawyers, and I still do it, but I don't belong to any more association because I have huge fights regarding on the halo effect in court. Guess what? If your last name is Latino or people perceive you as a Latino, it's more easy that you're going to find guilty. It's horrible because guess what? My passport original says that I'm Latina. I don't look like Latina for more people, but I'm a Latina. And the misconception is that Latino people or people from Latin America is in a certain way. So people assign automatically, and when the situation right now, they assign certain traits. Not all the people is that way. You cannot be judging. You need to give people the chance to be themselves. But the point is, attractiveness defendant get lighter sentence. If you're attracted, you can get away with murder. You can get away with a lot of things. An attractive, harsh punishment. Now, same crime, different judgment. The people define you by your face. People define you by things that you wouldn't believe it. Don't judge. You don't just judge the crime, you judge the face. And in this case, you not only judge the crime, you judge the body, you judge the appearance. There is another video that I want to show you, but I think we're going to have copyrights and I don't want this video to be censored, of a show that they asked for a juror if the juror was biased. And as soon as the juror saw the two people, he assigned the woman is innocent because she was really well dressed, and the guy was more dressed like a homeless. And actually, the guy wasn't guilty. But the idea was to show that even though you says that you're not biased, you present yourself as not biased, you can be more biased than you expected. So tomorrow we're going to talk about AI versus the brain, how your brain gets messed up with AI. We're going to talk what part of the brain is used when you use AI, how you do a prompt based on the emotions and the right brain of the left brain, depending what you're going to be tapping and triggering. Now, we're going to talk about beautiful but danger that can be possible. So with beautiful and danger, I have just the second monitor in front of me, and it's really difficult to read. I need to fix this tomorrow. Team, remind me to fix this. Attractiveness equal easy going, unless being pretty help with the crime. So the blonde myth is another effect that women that are blonde, they're considering to be less intelligent. Things that teachable moment is because I love the things that I read. Do you know the Marilyn Monroe have a higher IQ than Einstein? Don't kill me. Their studies, they tested. She was intelligent enough to play dumb. When you're extremely intelligent and you know how to play dumb, you can get away with murder. The people who is too cocky about their intelligence, I don't trust them. Why? Because you're intelligent, you need to let it go easily. If you are with a person that is less intelligent or have less information you need to let it go easy. You need to share with that person and make it easy for them to understand. Attractive equal less guilt for theft. If you're attractive, I couldn't have grabbed that. I don't know how to. An interrogation, one of the things that people is really prompt to agree or disagree with an answer using their own dictionary. Dictionary is everything. I learned that from Abhinav Sapir, the father of statement analysis. He came to this country on the 70s and he taught everybody else talking about statement analysis. He's the guy who created the devil, and I studied with him more than once. I have the pleasure to call him friend, and I have conversations with him all the time. And he says, if you need to learn only one thing about statement analysis, is not replacement for yes or no. If I ask you, did you steal that car? And you says, this is going against my religion. I'm going to church every Sunday. You didn't say yes. You didn't say no. You're more propense that if you need to use religion or reinforcement to get away with murder, is because you are guilty. So if you're attractive, is looked as less guilty. Now, attractiveness can go against you and being considered more guilty in fraud. Spies, financial fraud, those kind of things. Guess what? People find you more guilty if you're attractive. So attractiveness have their pairs, because you're attractive is considered an extra weapon against people who are being defrauded and scammed. And it scams and dating site and says, I was dating Brad Pitt and he asked me for $50,000. That is another thing. At some point, I want to bring a psychologist who work with the scammers and people who is victim of scammer to understand that you make 50% of the scam available. And we're going to talk about the pigeon effect. Team, take notes. We're going to talk about the pigeon effect and how a scam work and the psychology behind scammers and how sometimes people click and why they click and they made a mistake. And we're going to talk about one of the biggest scams happen now is they offer you a job by text, and we're going to explain how we work and how we work in your psychology and your desperation, because the scammers happen that way. Context, change, bias. So if you don't think you're biased and you want to check if you're being biased, check the content and context about things. You're never going to find me tired to say content and context have a lot of weight. Now, modern halo effect. Beautify faces rate higher on intelligence, trustworthiness, sociability, and happiness. There is a study that Elva and I, we were talking this morning, we're going to show you, we don't know, we have 20 7 more days to go this madness. And if you guys like it, maybe we're gonna start doing it once a week, and we're gonna bring guests. Let's see how I ended up after 30 days on doing this. I hate being camera, you know that. Is that they put all these CEOs and successful people, and people can find out who is successful. I can go on a dating app. I do that all the time with my friends. Is this person is successful? This is not. This is too emotional. This is too left brain. This is going to be a sugar daddy. This is spend too much money. This is going to spend too much money on you. Okay, I'm a professional face rated profiler. Okay, Psychology Today told me I'm the top expert alive that can do that BS and witchcraft. I get it. But inconsciously, you can read faces. You just need to read faces and learn how to read faces, not by a book. None of the things you read by a book. You learn them by experience. You learn them by being old, not only for being the devil. AI filters make you more trustworthy. One of the things the AI is used a lot is to make you look more trustworthy. Actually, there are studies showing that they grab a picture. So that's how it works. They grab a picture of you and they modify the symmetry. They make your face more rounded. They're made, oh my God, I can see my face all the way on the screen. Oh, because I make it bigger. So they make your face rounded. They make the eyes near to the nose, apart from the nose, pointy. They modify. So the same person, they modify at least 5 patterns. And guess what? People can trust one and like one, and not trust the other one and not like the other one. You see the one who's passing on the back? That is Molt. Say hi, Molt. He gonna knock something. Yeah, I do all my life with my cats. Usually well behaved. Not today because they know I'm feeling bad and I have a lot of pain. Can you see the cat passing? We have an extra guest on the live. Now, again, you need to remember AI filters are used, most of them, for make your face trustworthy. Tip on dating. We're going to see a video about dating. If you use too many filters, men are not going to check on you because the majority of using filters are women. So one of the biggest things is guys don't like women using filters because they think it's deceiving. And guess what? It is deceiving. So don't complain if somebody walk away because you deceive them. Because for you, it's okay, lie about your age, lie about your weight, your height. Guys lie about height, women lie about weight. And we're going to talk on the dating, and probably we're going to try to bring a dating coach to tell us more, is deceiving is deceiving. No matter what is your concept that you're deceiving people. But if you're lying, you're lying. And you start a relationship based on, so maybe the person like you more, and now it's tequila meeting with that. Oh God, they're going to break something. So no matter what, the person make the expectations based on what you offer. So deceiving is messing up with the expectation of the other person. So careful with AI. You want to know more? You want to bring us to the team? We have classes, and please contact us on LinkedIn. What happened? We have a series of classes. They are not published. They're hiding. We only take people by application. That's not the application. You don't need to have a too long interview, but we need to know that you haven't been fooling your brain with the false witchcraft. What we find out with some of the classes that we have is that people have a lot of resistance because they've been taking classes or they've been reading books or watching shows that has nothing to do with the reality. And it's no way, no matter how much you explain, the halo effect and the bias they have. So we have private classes. We have a lot of classes that are not published. You're not going to find it. You cannot Google because they're not indexed. So if you want to take the classes for you, or you want to bring us to your company, to your team, sales teams, please contact us either on consulting@susanivitz.com. Elba, if you can put the contact us form for the what is the name for the company? No, the StreamYard. That StreamYard is for get on the live. So if you click that, I'm not going to allow you to get on the live. Sorry, it's not happening. So put the fill out form so people can contact us. If you not, just go talk to the team. Consulting@susanivitz.com and I'm sure we can help you. Thank you. You see what you have done? What you have done? Can you come to say hello? No. You stop breaking things. I'm going to deal with her later. From bias to behavior, the brain doesn't like uncertainty. We always talk with the team. Confused mind don't make decisions. As soon as I see something that is uncertain, is called, oh my God, I completely forgot. I messed it up. Okay, I'm going to try to remember. So if your brain feel uncertainty, doesn't know what they're reading, they don't understand what they see, that it happened a lot, uncanny effect. That's what happened. That is what happened with AI. The brain gets confused all the time. And we're going to talk about uncanny effect tomorrow, is that I don't understand. It's uncertain. As soon as it's uncertain, I have negative. So when you're selling, when you're presenting to other person by yourself, what happens if the person doesn't understand who you are, how certain or uncertain you are, people is not going to take you. Now, why your brain creates currents? Do you have an idea? You want to let me know? Do you have any opinion? Guys, we have a lot of people on the live. I'm not going to invite you. Nobody's going to invite you. Give us your opinion. Think, participate. You know how sad it is for me to be here without you asking me questions and telling me, if I run, please say it. If I made a mistake and forget something, please let me know. Again, I'm in a lot of pain and medication. And between my cats and things, they get me distracted. Tomorrow, I'm going to see if I can put in a room, but 6 in a room is impossible. So why your brain creates currents? One, behavior, personality category. So you see one behavior and automatically you label that person with a behavior that maybe doesn't know. That's the reason you never ever need to or should be or could be that you read body language from a picture. I can show you the same picture from different angles and we're going to show it, and we talk a lot about that. We get people talking and suddenly we take a picture and says, how pissed off you were in that picture. No, I wasn't. I was talking about how passionate about football. Well, if I read your body, but that picture, I would say something was wrong with you. I'm like, oh my God, how wrong is read body language from a picture? Stereotype activates instantly. If you have, I have people who says, I'm not going to your house because I hate cats. Why? Oh, because when I was a kid, a cat was mean to me. And says one cat. There are cities built around cats. Or people says, I don't like a dog because a dog bite me in the park. So one dog bites you and suddenly all the dogs need to die. That is how we stereotype actively, instantly in your brain. Save cognitive effort. If you save in your little brain, in your dictionary, something in certain way, that's the reason we are really careful who we take in these classes. We have in human behavior school, we have classes that everybody can take because they're more vanilla. They're an introduction, is to understand what you have learned and what you know it's good or not. They launch in December, all good with that. But the other classes, the classes that you need to apply is because save cognitive effort, we see it all the time. The reason we do that is not to segregate anyone, is because we understand how bias act in your brain. Feel accurate even when it is not. When people says, well, I feel like maybe it's a bad person, but that is one attribute. Now, it feel wrong, but it look like a nice person. That is the problem. The gift of fear from Gavin De Becker, the first chapter is really hard. It's the story of a woman who was raped in her apartment, and her gut was telling her something wrong, but the man was so nice, apparently, to her, that she allowed this man to help her. What she ended up being attacked. This is one of the best books you're going to find out outside regarding dating and safetyness and understand the bias. If it smells like poo-poo, look like poo-poo, and tastes like poo-poo, guess what? It is poo-poo. So the brain builds a story to feel safe. We build stories. We fake stories. We convince ourselves the fake stories only because the brain need to feel safe. And guess what? You do it, I do it, everybody does it. And we can create memories from the past or erase memories from the past. So sometimes you have a guttural reaction against someone or something because the Karen effect is with things too, animal, people, and things, and products and food. If you ever burn out with yourself with oil, most people don't want to get around the kitchen. Maybe it's an excuse. I don't know. I burn myself all the time. Elba and I, we compete to see who burn more themselves or hurt more themselves because we're really clumsy. Everyday Karen bias, customer service, WhatsApp messages, meetings, family, strangers, and public. People watching. I have done people watching with friends and says, oh, that person looked like das and das. How you know? Well, for the way they're dressed and like, well, maybe has nothing to do with that. What if just the person was, I don't know, cooking and forgot to have the saffron and they need to go to the supermarket? It's not a schlepper, just was on the run and have people coming over and doesn't have time to change and bait because it's going to do it after they cook. You never know what people happen. So when you go to see people watching, do it to understand how biased you can be. That's like a good exercise. When you're going on a first date with someone or you're going to do a job interview, check how people treat other people and what is the biases and how they talk about people. They know and they don't know. Because guess what? That's the way they're going to talk to you. When people says, you don't gossip, you can gossip because you know how to. Like, I don't have time. I'm too busy running business. So if you have time to gossip, good for you. I don't. You do this more than you think. And again, I do it, you do it, everybody does it. And everybody live in a cult society. We are in a cult society. Tomorrow I have a meeting with Jeff. I called him Jack or something like that yesterday. I'm horrible with names. How I can have the IQ and have it mess it up with names and I don't remember names and how to pronounce difficult words. I'm going to get away with that because I'm dyslexic, but it's not misrespect. I'm going to forget your name. Thank God for Zoom and badges on the event. Always use it on the left side. I'm going to tell you how to kill it in a networking and not to be killed in a networking. He's the top expert on the world on cults. And we're going to talk about, this is not going to be a slice. It's going to be a deep conversation with someone who knows a lot about the topic. And you're going to be amazed how much we live in a cult society. You are part of a cult that you don't even know. I was reading, and I'm going to leave it more to talk with Jeff on Friday. Apple was selling like literally a pair of socks with a hole that it costs $500 to carry your cell phone. And myself and a lot of people says, this is stupid. This is not going to sell. And one point says, oh my God, that is my bias because I don't belong to the Apple tribe. I'm not in group. And it says, you know what? It's going to sell and going to sell out. And people are like, no, you're crazy. It happened. So that is believing in a cult society because only was Apple people purchase it. So that is a cult society. Now, the real problem, bias is moral or is neurological? What do you think? What do you think? Cause of the bias, misjudging people, broken communication, escalate conflict, missing opportunities, and damage relationship. When we talk about improving communication has to do with being more open, be nicer to other people, be open to the differences. I've been judged and bullied because I'm different, my speech impediment, and because I have problem reading out loud, because I have misspelling. I live in a bully society. If they don't bully me, I says, what is wrong with you? But you know, on the other hand, how many relationships I couldn't have with that person and that person couldn't have with me? How many times I see people breaking relationship because, no, that person must be. How you know there must be? Give it a chance. Misjudging of people, broken communication, escalate conflict, miss opportunities, damage relationship. Bias have a price. So if you think you're not paying the price and the people around you don't pay it, it happened with the Rosenthal effect. Remember that we talk about the Rosenthal effect, yes, and support? People was told that were Mensa or they were stupid. And guess what? The people who was labeled stupid felt like stupid. The people who was labeled as a Mensa, they think they were more intelligent. And guess what? Probably they were. They didn't have the right support because they were labeled in the wrong way. Bias in sales and dating. Are you choosing the wrong person? In sales or dating, I always says it's the same. The only difference is the happy ending. I say it. People says, what you say on lunchtime? Yeah. The important is not the first date, is the second one. And when I have a sales pitch with someone, the important thing is not the first time you met with someone, if it's declined when I met with you to close the deal. So let me show you another video. It's not from us, it's from me. Okay, this is done by, I don't know what it doesn't show, but I want to be careful with the copyright, right? This is from the show Brain Games. Elba and I think it was the second or third trip she made it. We spent 8 hours watching all the seasons of Brain Games. It says the video was aired in the show Brain Games. If you want to see it, it's amazing. This is an example how consciously or unconsciously we are biased. Is the last video I'm going to show you. But as you can see, it's been a constant showing you that bias is in the places that you less expected. So if you want to bring us to your company to understand the bias is not to make a huge class, is not to do psychology, is understand that we do it, and I do it too.
Want to see what we mean? Meet Max. Max is 25 years old and has a college degree. Now, meet Paul. Paul is also 25, and he too graduated college. So here's the question. Which of these two do you think has a better job and earns more money? Max or Paul? Have you made your choice? Did you pick Paul? It turns out most people do. But why? After all, what little information you know about them is exactly the same. Or is it? Let's see them side by side. Now, there's a pretty obvious difference. But unless we're talking about basketball, what does height have to do with better jobs and money? Max here earns more as an accountant than Paul does as a waiter. But your brain may have jumped to the incorrect conclusion based on the fact that Paul is taller. Something you may have subtly clued in on when we showed you each of them standing next to this mailbox. This phenomenon, discovered by psychologist Edward Thorndike, is known as the halo effect.
Are we clear now? And I show this in classes too. And people make the mistake. They choose the tall one. And actually in dating too, majority of the women look for men over 6 feet. You just eliminate 60% of the men that you can be dating. 60% of the population just by clicking on a dating app that if you're less than 6 feet. Don't get me wrong. I always choose over 6 feet and I'm lucky mine is 6'3". But no, I'm not 6'3". My man is 6'3". But I wasn't looking for height. I get lucky, but most of my friends says I don't date anybody who is at least half an inch shorter than I am. But it's true. That's how biased we are. And unconsciously, I was too. Now, the fix. How to de-bias yourself. It's not easy. It's a daily situation you need to go through. So let's go a little on what you can do, because it's not only telling you what is the problem, show you how is the problem, is to give you some tips that at least since you have lunch with us, we work on this situation. And today I was longer. I had meetings all evening. Pause before you brain write a story. If you think that you're biased, stop and says, what I'm doing here. Separate behavior from identity. One thing is the behavior of the person, and you don't have a content and context. How you know how really that person is if you don't have a context or a series of behaviors they can tell you how really the person is. Separates the behavior from the identity. Has nothing to do with that. Name the bias when it happened. If you feel that you're being biased, you can say, you know what? You remind me to my ex-husband, and that is propends me to be a little guarded. it's okay. I would like to know more about you, but only if you see me a little distance. Has nothing to do with you, has to do with my own bias because he wasn't a good person. Can we start over? You wouldn't believe how many relations you get fixed with that. Or if you come back and says, you know what? I actually was an asshole in the last conversation. I shouldn't. Has nothing to do with you. I was biased because you did X and Y. I assume the Z and zebra is what happened, or would it happen, or shouldn't happen, and it didn't happen, or it will happen, and it was my mistake. Owning the mistakes is a great way to own the bias. And sometimes the relationship, they cannot be saved. That is not a situation, but that's how you can de-bias yourself. Why this matter to you? Do you think this doesn't matter to you? Yeah, it's matter to you because it can help you, kill you, or make you a better person. And at the end of the day, it can help other people around you. You always need to leave people better than when you find it. And I hope we leave you better than you find us with these lives every day. Bias is costing you clarity, relationships, opportunities, and you don't even see it. Your brain makes decisions you never approve. Those invisible shortcuts shape your relationship, your conflict, your judgment, and your outcomes. If you don't understand your bias will run your life. Take a moment. If you're repeating this, retrim, pause here, read it, take a screenshot, and take it with you. You can rebrand your wine. Your brain is depend on you. Today we talk about the Karen bias. How biased are you? Oh, believe me, you are. And I hope the videos that we show, that really was really difficult to decide which videos we're going to be showing to show you how biased in different and certain aspect. From we saw a piano, which one is the most expensive? We saw a tall and short person, and we are automatically assign traits to that person, and how just relabeling a pair of shoes, it sounds and perceived more expensive. Don't get me wrong. I use the last one with my clients. Shh, don't tell anyone. That's what people pay me for, to make perceived things more expensive. So tomorrow we're going to talk about AI and the brain. This is going to be a fun one, but the one I'm waiting like crazy is to talk about cult, because the misconception people have about cult. And how you get in contact with us, Elba, contact us, connect. You can connect with me directly. I do reply to all my messages. We have a media handler and we have a marketing people, because I cannot do all these things by myself. But in the messages situation, I'm always replying. I only reply my messages. Nobody else reply to my messages. So if you don't like it, it's my fault. If you like it, it's my fault too. If you're planning to bring a team to help you and your company, if you're going to learn about the classes that we have on the company, if you want to learn more about the secret society, I know it sounds horrible, but it's true. We have a secret society of people that is really willing to learn and is really willing to understand that we are biased. More than welcome. Just contact us, fill out form, and we can send you information. We can see if you apply. Again, there's so misunderstanding about human behavior economics. This class is about face reading, body language, micro expressions. It's about linguistic and elicitation. It has to do with behavioral economics, neuroscience, neuromarketing, profiling, why things happen, and a bunch of books of studies. And we talk about studies. And for 2 months, we met and we talk about the studies on the class. The good thing is you can do it at your own pace. But again, in order to get on the class, we need to make sure that you are not contaminated, because even we have people that study with other people and says, no, 93% of your body language, your body is not the language. Crossing your arms, the number 3 is not a sign that you're lying. That is a lie. So we need to clean that. Guys, do you have any questions? I'm not that clear. I'm not that good explaining. You get me nervous when you don't do questions. Today I did an hour. I promise to do it tomorrow. Going to be shorter. Friday, I don't know. It's Friday, so we're going to take it that way. My name is Susana Ivitz. I'm a behavioral neuroscience strategy. What I do is I take a dying horse and make it win the Derby. I will see you tomorrow. Remember, we have 26 more days with this witchcraft, and I'm happy for it. Bye-bye.